So if you have a vehicle and the oil is spraying all over the engine and you can't quite figure out where it's coming from, I thought I'd go over common places that engines will leak oil and it'll blow all over the engine. So the number one thing is going to be to check out the oil fill cap and check it, be sure it's screwed in good, take it off, check out the seal, because if that seal becomes broken or anything like that, then it can blow out oil. So you want to check that out. Be sure that's on there good. So first thing, check out that oil fill cap. The next thing is going to be the valve cover. The valve cover sits on the top of the engine and bolts onto it with these bolts. And so a common problem is that these bolts become loose or that gasket blows out for some reason and starts to leak oil out of it. So if you go along the valve cover and just check out these bolts, be sure that they're in there good, and look all the way around it and check that gasket out, because this is a common problem, is that these bolts come loose on the valve cover or that gasket blows out. So number two, check out those valve covers. And next up is going to be the timing cover gasket. This will sit down at the bottom, at the front of the engine. And just like the valve cover, sometimes these bolts come loose or sometimes this gasket fails and it can start to leak out. Usually it'll leak out underneath the bottom of the engine when that happens, but the fan and everything is up here, so sometimes it can just blow out and blow all over the top of the engine and things like this. And so if you could go down and examine it, be sure these bolts are all tight and everything. Sometimes that gasket does blow out and it just needs to be replaced with a new gasket before it'll seal up correctly. But number three is to check out that timing cover gasket. And next up is going to be the front main seal. And this is just a real simple gasket that goes on the front, but if this blows out, it can cause a major oil leak. It'll be located right down at the same location as the timing cover. It'll just be a gasket that just pushes in the very front. And these commonly cause problems with oil leaks. So the next thing is go check out the front of that engine right at the front of the crank for that front main seal. And next up is going to be an oil pressure switch is leaking. And this is another common problem, is that unit that's reading the oil pressure is leaking right where it screws into the engine. So go locate where that's at on your engine and then examine it really well, because these do leak and can cause oil to blow out all over the place and get all over the top of the engine and things like this. And next up is going to be the oil pan. And when the oil pan leaks, this will usually just be on the bottom. So it usually doesn't get up to the top of the engine. It'll usually be like from the transmission back underneath the whole vehicle. So if you're having that issue, then it could be an oil pan. You can go examine it. And just like the valve covers or any other thing, this has bolts that go all the way around. Sometimes they can come a little loose and just need to be tightened, but quite commonly when this goes bad, you need to put a whole new gasket on for it to seal correctly. But the next thing to do is to go examine the oil pan. And last up is going to be the oil filter. And while this doesn't usually leak, it can in some cases, especially if it hasn't been screwed on tightly or anything like this. And so last up is going to be to go examine the oil filter. And so that's basically it. I just want to do a real quick video of what would cause oil to spray all over an engine. If you have anything to add, please comment down below. If you have any questions, ask me. I'll try to answer them. If this video helps you, please click like, please click subscribe, and have a good day.